One of the other things that really just concerns me in the industry is that I've noticed that as soon as a realtor really starts taking off and they're doing a good amount of business, and maybe they start growing a small team, maybe they hire their first admin, maybe a buyer agent, right? And so they're really showing some promise. There are brokerages out there that is exactly when they grab a hold of you and get you to grow an expansion team or a mega team or whatever you want to call it team, right? And in doing so, or invest in a market center, or any of these things where now they've got you, like, okay, you know how to sell a house. Well, what else can you join forces with us on and possibly create? What they don't share with you is the horror stories, at least the ones that I've personally heard when I do discovery calls, which I often do with realtors. And it's basically just to basically understand where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going, right? And what is the vision, what's the goal? And so understanding how you've gotten to where you are, then how do we compound that and help you grow that way? Versus what I've seen, right? Getting you to commit to coaching, which I'm a huge fan of coaching. I've always had a coach. I'm not suggesting you don't have a coach. Yet there are different types of coaches. And there are the ones that the brokerage makes, 50% of the cost of whether you're paying $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and the brokerage, takes 50% of that cost. So again, they're basically figuring out how do we make even more money off our clients, which is the agent, not the consumer, right? And then how do we get them to invest into these market centers, and how do we get them to grow these teams? But what no one talks about is how many of these agents had to remortgage their homes, right, to offset that expense or come up with that initial cost involved to do so. Or how many of these teams were ego driven, and that while they sold a couple hundred homes as a team, as a total, and bazillion dollars in sales, and GCIs of $2-3 million, the net GCI, no one talks about that. The P&L, the bottom line, right?